So it was almost a month ago since Trump had his home invaded by the FBI. They seized documents that were supposedly classified, and they say they should not have been stored by Trump in his home. Everyone disagrees with something in this case. Most of you watching agree that the raid was totally unnecessary, and Trump would have given them all the documents they wanted without the embarrassment of a raid. This action was pretty clearly a political move to harm Trump's possible return to the presidency and make sure he can't continue to drain the swamp. It's pretty clear that Trump will find some more truths that the liberals and the liberal press would not be happy to see once Trump returns to office. So they're probably just afraid of him at this point. They're probably petrified of him at this point. So the charade plays on. We will have the greatest rhino ever, Liz Cheney, claiming in a press release, and I quote, "I see no evidence that there was any political motivation." Hey Cheney, your quote is politically motivated. What is wrong with them? It's like they think we don't even notice. Well, in the latest fight over this raid, Trump is actually suing the government and filed a lawsuit seeking the appointment of a special master to review the materials seized by the FBI. He also asked that the investigators immediately stop reviewing the documents while this lawsuit is being played out. The lawsuit, titled Trump versus the United States Government, alleges the decision to raid Mar-a-Lago a mere 90 days before the 2020 midterm elections involved political calculations aimed at diminishing the leading voice in the Republican Party, President Trump. And I happen to agree with him. The search has done a lot, by the way. The raid has done a lot to bolster Trump's chances at running and winning the election if he decides to run again. I gotta tell you, if the liberals tried to use this as a way to knock him off the horse, they clearly knew nothing about him. They clearly knew nothing how Trump operates. He has always been someone who throws a harder punch if you throw the first punch. While Trump seeks to have the information reviewed by a special team, he and most of the country are waiting to see the real reason for this raid. It clearly has nothing to do with the classified material, unless classified material can implicate other politicians for crimes and actions that are anti-American. You know, when you have the obvious crimes like what was found in Hunter Biden's laptop or Hillary Clinton and her emails, we know that the government turns a blind eye to classified information anyway. This information must be very special to the people in charge of the government. No, not the people like Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi. You know, the real people running the show. Hopefully this will push Trump to run again, and when he wins, we're going to find out the whole story. It'll be like watching a TV sequel. We'll be introduced to new characters, and we'll find out the fate of the characters we loved and hated. It'll make for great television. I remember watching House of Cards on Netflix. Remember House of Cards? I watched 3 seasons, and then it was Trump versus Hillary, and I realized that the show was just a mere tale of real life. The real life was more intriguing. So we'll see what the lawsuit does for Trump and his base. Oh, speaking of lawsuits, whatever happened to the lawsuit Trump filed against Hillary for the Russian hoax? You know, when she accused him of using Russia to get him elected, when it really turned out that she planted evidence to make that story work? I wonder if any of this has anything to do with the real reason that, quote, classified materials were taken from Trump's home. Oh, and I wonder if Trump copies any of this information. Would you have copied this information? I think I would have. I think we're going to see this information appear in several different sources in the future and in future sequels of the Trump story.